Say nothing if you're on steroids. Not natty.
No one ever really wants to talk about the pros of taking steroids. Lucky for you guys, I'm not no one.
Steroids have become increasingly more popular over the last few decades. While there has been persistent use of anabolic androgenic steroids to improve performance and physique in competitive sports, and in particular bodybuilding, the largest demographic isn't actually professional athletes, it's your average Joe. The pursuit of the ideal physique is nothing new. However, the growing emphasis on physical appearance and fitness, driven in part by social media and popular culture, has a lot of people feeling like their body just doesn't measure up. Whether it's with Ozempic or steroids, many people are looking for a quick fix.
If you want to be bigger, faster, and stronger, this is what you need.
And in our modern world, steroids are as easy to get as a pair of jeans. Just hop online and you're like a kid in a candy shop. Reports indicate that steroid use is increasing among adolescents and young adults, driven by the desire for improved physicality. On the cusp of adulthood, many boys are feeling the pressure, quite literally, of becoming men and want to fulfill whatever that means. But is the image of the ideal man that we've built as a society superficial?
Performative masculinity, how people are trying to sort of embody what their belief of what a man should look like.
Research shows that steroid use is predominantly fueled by body image issues and aesthetic purposes. So it begs the questions, is our hyper-focus on the physical characteristics, that is to say strength and muscle, causing us to overlook arguably more important qualities of being a man in terms of a person's character development?
Up first, mad gains. No brainer. This is what you're here for, isn't it?
I'm orthopedic surgeon Dr. Chris Raynor, and today we'll be exploring steroids, what they are, how they function physiologically, the impact they have on the body, and how their increased use reflects growing body image concerns among young men. And I'm going to be talking primarily about men for this video because while there is an increase in steroid use amongst women, the statistics for women still pale in comparison to the rates among men.
99.9% of people should not take fucking steroids.
Anabolic androgenic steroids, or AAS, are a group of hormones that includes testosterone, the natural form of AAS, originally isolated in the 1930s, along with numerous synthetic derivatives developed over the past 75 years. All AAS have two main effects: anabolic, which promotes muscle growth and fat loss, and androgenic, which induces masculinizing traits such as facial hair growth, a deeper voice, and other male secondary sexual characteristics.
Can I come in?
No, Dad. No, I'm doing something in here.
In their article on the history of anabolic androgens, Dr. Gen Kanayama and Dr. Harrison Pope Jr. point out that the effects of these hormones have been noted since ancient times, when castration of young males led to significant changes in body shape, libido, and behavior, suggesting that a chemical factor from the testes was responsible for these characteristics.
Where are you going? I'm going upstairs, because I'm going to put my nutsack on your drum set.
Essentially, it was discovered that testosterone played a key role in defining a man's masculinity, affecting not just his physique, but also his energy and drive. Steroids work by essentially hijacking a man's hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence.
This is a hormonal system that connects your brain to your reproductive organs. Put simply, the hypothalamus signals the pituitary to release luteinizing hormone, or LH, and follicle stimulating hormone, FSH.
Oh my God. I get it.
These hormones prompt the testes to produce testosterone. A small fraction of this testosterone, 1 to 2%, remains as biologically active free testosterone, which can bind to various receptors, primarily androgen receptors, and exert its effects. Most of the testosterone binds to proteins in the blood, such as sex hormone binding globulin, or SHBG, or albumin. Although bound testosterone is not directly biologically active, it acts as a reservoir that can be released into its free form when needed. This balance between free and bound testosterone is crucial for maintaining overall hormone equilibrium, making the role of SHBG actually very important, as endocrinologist Dr. Robert Stevens explains.
It helps mediate the DHT to testosterone to estrogen ratio, which is important for what?
Some of the testosterone is converted into dihydrotestosterone, or DHT, which is a more potent form of testosterone, while another small portion is converted into estrogen. Yes, men need some estrogen too. This entire process is regulated by a feedback loop. The levels of testosterone and its derivatives signal the hypothalamus to adjust the production of LH and FSH, thereby either increasing or decreasing testosterone production based on the body's needs. However, here's the catch. By introducing exogenous external testosterone into the body, you interfere with the natural hormone production. When the body detects elevated levels of testosterone from these external sources, the feedback loop signals the hypothalamus and pituitary gland to reduce or stop the production of endogenous or natural testosterone. This is because the body perceives the increased external testosterone as sufficient and adjusts its own hormone production accordingly. As urologist Dr. Judson Brandeis explains,
everything in your body has a natural cycle, and when you're doing all these crazy, wacky things with your testosterone, it affects your bodily systems.
But most think the gains are worth it, literally. The increase in testosterone from steroids doesn't directly increase muscle mass, but it facilitates muscle growth by enhancing the binding of testosterone to androgen receptors in muscle cells. This, in turn, promotes protein synthesis, the process by which cells build proteins from amino acids to repair and build muscle and other tissues. Protein synthesis primarily occurs post-workout, as the body repairs muscle damage.
The big storm of a workout comes in, you start destroying it, the house breaks down a little bit. Some components of the house are completely unusable, they get broken down. But some components of the house could actually be recycled quite well to build other houses.
Exactly. Into new muscle. I guess it really is no pain, no gain. Steroids also improve recovery, allowing for more intense and frequent workouts, and they reduce muscle breakdown, helping users better maintain their muscle gains. And as a bonus, the increase in muscle mass increases metabolism, the calories you burn while at rest, which contributes to fat loss.
Hey, can I reserve the bench tonight at 7? Yeah, I know I was just benching, but I just perfected this quick recovery drink. I'm feeling a PR.
Some may even enhance lipolysis, the breakdown of fat for energy.
Awesome, thanks Mom.
And while steroids aren't stimulants, they can boost energy, motivation, and overall vitality indirectly because of their effects on testosterone levels.
This came from steroids. It didn't come from just lifting and eating. It's not how it works.
So it's clear why steroids are commonly used for performance enhancement. Until the 1980s, they were mainly used by elite athletes aiming to gain an edge in competitions. Since then, however, their use has expanded beyond professional sports, gradually spreading to regular weightlifters, the broader fitness community, and even the general public seeking to improve their physical appearance.
Dentists, doctors, we had lawyers, we had CEOs of companies. It wasn't just your typical beefheads.
Because many users are reluctant to admit their use due to fear of legal or social repercussions, there is a lot of uncertainty and speculation about who is using steroids and who isn't.
And the bigger problem is a lot of fitness influencers are only ever partially transparent. They say they're on steroids, but they rarely, if ever, show any of the bad stuff.
The transparency situation is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, if more people were open about their steroid use, it could help prevent unrealistic comparisons and expectations. On the other hand, increased openness might also contribute to the normalization and widespread acceptance of steroid use.
You add up every cannabis, coke, heroin, you'll have twice as many steroid users.
That said, it's pretty clear to anyone with access to the internet. If you want steroids, you can get steroids. They are more accessible than ever through both medical prescriptions and illegal sources. The underground market, often involving raw materials sourced from China and home brewing, presents serious safety risks. In a 2022 review of 19 studies with over 5,400 anabolic steroid samples from the Americas and Europe, it was found that a substantial percentage of black market steroids are counterfeit or substandard. Oh man.
If you're not getting it through official regulated channels, how pure is this? Has it really been made in an environment that's clean and clinically clean?
It's safe to assume that most steroid users don't have a prescription and that this makes up a large majority of the distributed product. And it's everywhere online, bro. everywhere. The rise in steroid use among non-athletes seems to coincide with a growing concern about body image among young men, driven in part by modern society's increasing focus on achieving a lean and muscular physique.
Exercising correctly, looking after yourself, it's a full-time job. I think that's why people want to take the shortcut, because they can see so many people that already look like that.
We're presented with exaggerated physiques, like the mass monster look recently popularized, without considering the overall lifestyle or health implications behind them. This narrow view can lead us to assume that such extremes are the norm, leaving us feeling inadequate by comparison.
We are mere humans. These guys are giants.
A 2024 article highlights how cultural narratives significantly impact individuals' choices, including whether to buy steroids and even which products to choose.
This one is just the most craziest one. That's called tren.
This dynamic boosts steroid sales, creating a harmful feedback loop. As people feel worse about themselves, demand for steroids increases. Meanwhile, suppliers struggling to meet this demand often compromise on quality, focusing on quantity instead. As professional bodybuilder Josh Bridgman said in a BBC article, it was a phenomenon that exploded out of nowhere, leaving drug workers scrambling to try and understand a huge range of new drugs that were being taken by an entirely new group of people for an entirely new range of reasons. Confidence. To be able to walk into a gym full of big guys and not feel intimidated.
You know, felt like I really belonged in there and didn't really care at the size of the other guys that was in there, because all of a sudden I did feel like I belonged there.
So, normal people want to be fit, and fit people want to be fitter. And then there's the fit people who want to be fit because even if they're already fit, they don't see themselves as fit.
This is what I'm going for, okay? Still got the full head of hair, right? Smooth face, clean face, but 20 pounds of lean mass, right? Bro, I just want one picture of it, and then I'm coming off steroids forever.
Body dysmorphia is a mental disorder characterized by intense preoccupation with a perceived flaw in one's physical appearance. While it often co-occurs with anorexia nervosa, which involves an intense fear of gaining weight, extreme caloric restriction, and a distorted body image, predominantly affecting women, there is growing phenomena known as bigorexia, or reverse anorexia affecting men.
How can anyone love or enjoy what is here? It boggles my mind because I myself don't like what I'm seeing because I've just critiqued it so much.
It's an anxiety disorder where individuals perceive themselves as small, despite being muscular, leading to an obsession with muscle size and definition. According to Rob Wilson from the Body Dysmorphic Disorder Foundation, about 10% of men in gyms may have it.
I used to look at them and really beat myself up. This is so out of reach, and why am I not there?
Evidence confirms that body image is a key predictor of steroid use. Noel Diesel, who is open about his steroid use, said this in a video criticizing the glorification of PEDs.
I get DMs from 15-year-olds asking where they can buy tren, and to my surprise I keep getting more and more of these.
Again, we're talking young, brain still developing young, 14-year-olds. I mean, at least go through puberty first, especially when the hormonal system they are interacting with plays a critical role in brain development at that time. Research shows that those who start using anabolic steroids during adolescence tend to have more impulsive behavior and trouble focusing compared to those who start using steroids as adults. Studies on animals show that steroid use during adolescence can lead to long-lasting problems such as anxiety, increased aggression, and heightened stress responses, even after the steroids are stopped. And it's not just the brain that we risk messing with. It can cause stunted growth, where bones mature too fast and then stop growing. But probably the most significant side effects of anabolic steroids is hypogonadism, which refers to low levels of endogenous testosterone production. This condition can lead to reduced sperm production and potential infertility.
My balls have nowhere to sit. It's not natural.
I'm not sure if adolescents are equipped to make such a serious decision about their bodies with such long-term consequences during a time in their lives that is arguably the most impressionable and impulsive.
I know people that have died. I know people that face lifelong health complications, all because of reckless decisions they made 10 years ago about steroids.
Often, the initial desire for physical self-improvement isn't even about us alone, but is linked to wanting to be considered attractive and to gain approval, particularly from potential sexual partners.
First time meeting someone of your size, so wow.
And regardless of what your belief is about having children, This drive is an integral part of life and deeply rooted in our biology.
You know what's stopping me from blasting 2 grams of gear?
You're afraid to lose your hair?
In the case of steroids, increasing your physique for the sake of attractiveness might ultimately undermine the very drive that motivated you to make these changes.
These other motherfuckers who you aspire to be aren't afraid to blast 2 grams.
I'm not trying to lose my hair, bro.
Some other notable side effects of steroids are gynecomastia, or man boobs, acne, genitourinary, shrinking of the testes, and erectile dysfunction.
What's up, gentlemen? Oh my God, I got man boobs!
Abuse of these substances can lead to more serious complications, such as liver tumors, kidney failure, cardiovascular disease, heart attacks, and strokes. Roid rage is difficult to quantify, but many do note increases in aggression and violence. In fact, an observational study conducted by Thea Christofferson and colleagues found that users had a 9-fold higher risk of committing crimes and facing imprisonment. But hopefully you won't be using it long term, right? Well, it's not always that simple. Users want to make it as manageable as possible without major consequences. They often employ a pyramid approach, starting with small doses and gradually increasing them to allow their bodies to adjust. They also commonly use stacks, which involve combining multiple substances to avoid relying too heavily on one type of steroid and to potentially enhance their effects. Additionally, users practice cycling, taking steroids for a few months at a time, followed by a break to let their bodies recover from the drugs. However, for many, one cycle leads to another, and then another, and stopping for good may not be that easy.
You can see where it could be addictive or where people could abuse it, because you feel like superhuman.
There is evidence that roughly 1/3 of steroid users develop psychological dependence, continuing to use the drugs despite adverse effects and potential harm. This dependence can lead to neglecting important activities and an increasing tolerance, meaning users need progressively larger and larger doses to achieve the same results. Many people who quit using steroids end up needing lifelong testosterone replacement therapy because their body stops producing testosterone naturally. This means that by using steroids, you might commit yourself to a lifetime of injections and dependence on external substances just to maintain normal hormone levels.
You've pretty much accepted you're putting your body in a toxic state periodically in order to gain, super physiological amounts of muscle. Eventually you're gonna hit a point where this is all accumulated and it's coming back to bite you.
That said, if individuals are determined to use steroids, the least we can do is to ensure they make an informed decision and use them as safely as possible. Many people overlook the risk of blood-borne viruses as a result of unsafe injection practices. I believe that it's important that you're doing all that you can to be healthy before introducing exogenous substances into your body in order to minimize the damage they could potentially cause. In many competitive circles, it's widely believed that using steroids is essential to be taken seriously and to reach a pro-level status, to fit in with the big boys, so to speak.
You have to even the playing field. It's a necessary evil, essentially.
However, this mentality has spread beyond the realm of sports and is even affecting boys who are still, well, boys.
Now he's a social media celebrity himself. This transformation video chronicling his weight-gaining odyssey.
And when it comes to fitness training, focusing on function rather than aesthetics is often way more practical. Take Navy SEALs, for example. While they are exceptionally strong, their training focuses on practicality and resilience rather than mere size and appearance, emphasizing functional fitness to handle diverse and challenging situations effectively.
You have to make sure that you don't get too strong too quickly, or you do what I did and absolutely fuck up your joints because you weren't lifting with good enough form, but you were getting stronger at super physiological levels.
Steroid use can increase the risk of torn tendons and joint problems, as muscles may grow too large for the body to support properly. This often happens when people prioritize appearance over proper form and flexibility, which are essential for overall movement and health. The goal then becomes more so to pose well than to move well. Similarly, if the pursuit of a more manly appearance comes at the cost of potentially damaging your natural ability to produce the primary hormone that contributes to masculine characteristics, testosterone, and makes you completely dependent on external substances for the rest of your freaking life, I think it's something young men should consider very, very carefully. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave us a comment and give it a big thumbs up to feed the algorithm. If this is your first time to the channel, be sure to subscribe for more content that helps you understand human anatomy in an engaging way. We are now on our way to 700,000 subs, and we would love to have you with us when we get there. If you didn't like the video, be sure to let me know why in the comment section down below. I read as many comments as I can, and we use your feedback to make our videos better for you. Don't forget to follow my gym, Human 2.0 Fitness, for free right here on YouTube, where we post content that helps you move better and prevent injury. Or its sister channel, Human at Home, where you can learn how to be healthy where you live. Otherwise, as always, that's been a word from Dr. Chris, not your everyday ortho, where we see one, do one, teach one.